Hey everyone, my name is Ash, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we will be discussing girl groups. We'll talk about the history of girl groups, studies and discussions regarding the struggles and triumphs of being in a girl group, my thoughts regarding everything discussed, and much more. But before we get started, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. Also, please leave a comment letting me know your thoughts on today's video, as well as other topics you would want to see in the future. Now, let's get started. So the term girl group is defined as a musical act featuring several female singers who generally harmonize together. This is different from girl bands, who typically play instruments as well as sing. Girl groups rose to popularity around the late 1950s to 1960s. The era was characterized by many different genres, some of which were pop, rhythm and blues, and even doo-wops. The first major girl group that came out of this era was the Hamilton Sisters and Fordyce. Active between the years of 1922 to 1946, Pearl and Violet Hamilton and Jessie Fordyce was regarded as radio's foremost harmony trio as they sang Barbra style and harmonized. After them came the Boswell sisters, then the Andrews sisters, and then eventually hundreds upon hundreds of girl groups started springing up in America and the UK. As the years went on, new groups like the Chantels and the Marvelettes began a change in music, allowing for more black artists to venture into new and different music genres and opportunities in the music industry. As the concept of the girl group grew, around 750 groups between the years of 1960 to 1966 charted in the US and UK. As the British invasion, or the rise of pop and rock in the UK, began in the US, girl groups were pushed into the background, with groups like the Supremes being one of the few that were still popular and charting. The sound and style of girl groups began to evolve, moving towards a more glam rock sound, matching outfits, and group choreography. Girl groups also started popping up in other countries, with Latin America and Japan starting to see dance-oriented and idol groups making waves, respectively. In the 90s, American girl groups started venturing into the world of R&B and contemporary. Groups like En Vogue, Sweet Sensation, Escape, and 3OW gained huge success during this time. Their era also gave way to the popularity of TLC and Destiny's Child, two of the best-selling girl groups worldwide. By the 2000s, groups like Danity Kane and Pussycat Dolls were holding it down for girl groups, with the most recent major girl group coming from the US being Fifth Harmony. Across the pond, groups like Spice Girls garnered number ones in both the UK and US, most notably the best-selling girl group single, Wannabes. Their success led to the inception of other popular girl groups in Europe, like Girls Aloud, Sugar Babes, and most recently, Little Mix. In Asian countries, dance groups began emerging in the 90s, but started taking off late 2000s into the 2010s. Before K-pop, J-pop, or Japanese pop grew popular with idol groups. One of the best-selling girl groups, Speed, led to later groups like Morning Musume and AKB48. Morning Musume ended up being Japan's longest and most successful J-pop group, and AKB48 had some best-selling singles, which led to the replication of the group in other countries like China, Thailand, South Korea, and more. More recently, K-pop has grown popular in the West. Newer K-pop fans have probably heard names like Girls' Generation, Wonder Girls, and 21, which were major girl groups that came out in the late 2000s. Nowadays, K-pop fans have shown great interest in groups like Red Velvet, Blackpink, and Twice. Now that we've discussed the history of girl groups, we will also discuss the reasons why they struggle and what they succeed at. We'll start with the struggles of girl groups and then end with their successes. One reason why girl groups struggle in comparison to boy groups is because of the fan base. The fans of these groups tend to be majority girls and young women, so boy groups have the upper hand because fangirls just go really hard for them, more so than the girl groups they are competing with. The next is there's a lot of competition. While this can be said about both boy and girl groups deal with the competition from the boy groups, other girl groups, and each member in the group. From a general public standpoint, we have seen many times before that people will pit boy and girl groups against each other in some form of a battle of the sexes. From the Beatles versus the Supremes to 5 Seconds of Summer versus Fifth Harmony, these groups, while sonically different, were still competing for the public's approval. Regarding girl groups competing with each other, the media and society tend to pit women against each other. While there have been discussions as to why women are not allowed the ability to coexist with one another the way men do, this still happens. The most recent one that comes to mind is Fifth Harmony and Little Mix. While two successful groups in their own right, they still were met with fans of each of the groups and commentators trying to favor one over the other. Still regarding competition, the members themselves are also competing with each other. While they are a collective group, the concept of the solo stan, as in someone who supports one person and one person only, causes issues within the fandom and group. Fans feel that certain members are not as popular and get less opportunities compared to popular members. This shows itself in the amount of lines and songs, and even in opportunities outside of the group. Lastly, another reason why girl groups struggle and even break up compared to boy groups will be due to their age. As fans grow with the groups, they see them change and evolve as people. This can cause the public to outgrow them. A piece in the Korea Herald discusses this, saying considering the average age of girl groups and the plethora of groups making their debuts every year, once the group hits a certain age, their popularity tends to wane. This is especially the case for girl groups because many of them became popular because of their young, cute, innocent image. And once the girls mature, the image is hard to maintain, and they are replaced by younger groups. So while boy groups on average have more longevity, the girls who come from these disbanded groups oftentimes have to find other areas of work. Now, we will be discussing what girl groups do well and how they succeed. The first would be their versatility. While I do believe that both boy groups and girl groups do have their iconic changes, girl groups usually tend to have many distinct eras that differ from each other, allowing fans the chance to enjoy different sides of their favorite artists. For example, the popular K-pop female idol group, Girls' Generation, is known for their shifts from the young, innocent appeal during debut into the more grown-up looks and musical sounds. Another thing that girl groups do really well is have pretty decent marketability. While girls and women usually take up a decent amount of the fandoms for both boy and girl groups, when it comes to getting male fans, it is sometimes easier to get them to support a girl group than a boy group. This could be due to their attraction to the members, the tokenism these fanboys may feel being a girl group fan, or many other reasons. This isn't always the case, but it does happen. A really important thing to note is the female empowerment felt from these girl groups. For girls who look up to these girl groups, they usually can see themselves in one or more of the members. The women in the group show girls that they can do and be whatever they want. Many of the newer girl groups and solo singers cite girl groups of the past, even doing covers of their popular works. Without many of these groups, we may not have gotten the solo singers and girl groups we have today. Now that I've discussed the ins and outs of girl groups, I turn the mic over to you. What are some of your favorite girl groups? What do you like about them? Let me know in the comments below. I've grown up watching and admiring girl groups. For me, having groups like Destiny's Child, I felt represented not only as a woman, but as a black woman. Watching them and many others make amazing music, beautiful music videos, and great live performances was something I loved a lot growing up. With that being said, here are my final thoughts. In my personal opinion, I really wish girl groups had more longevity. I feel like the newer girl groups that gain popularity come and go so often. This can be due to personal issues between members or them just no longer being received as well as they once were, and I just wish that we have more groups like Little Mix that stay together for a long time and don't have member changes during their career as a group. Also worth noting, I really appreciate the growing appeal for Asian girl groups. Older groups like Girls' Generation and younger ones like Blackpink making waves in the US and beyond is really commendable, and I hope to see other groups of other countries and regions of the world receive their accolades as well in the future. Lastly, I really wish there wasn't as much pressure on girl groups, or women in general, to succeed and outdo one another. The bar is continually set really high for women, and it's going to be hard to match or outdo previous groups, and I wish the masses would stop trying to make certain groups or women the next X or Y's predecessor when they are their own artist or group. Before I finish up, just so y'all know, some of my favorite groups as of right now are Blackpink and Little Mix, but I did like 21 and Fifth Harmony when they were still active. I dabble in the music of Red Velvet, M.O., and Four of Diamonds, and would highly recommend them as well. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment letting me know your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!